Hi, this is Yoga with Lynn and Leo, our foundation collection. Be on your mat. Lynn is in the white and Leo in the purple. Leo, you will notice, will be using a few more props in these poses. Just bend your knees and look down at your feet and separate the toes. It's very important when you start your practice that there's a breadth and broadness and a connection with the earth. Take a few deep breaths, soft inhale and soft exhale. Whilst you're in this Tadsasana action, be weighted into the back of the heel. Find the lift through the legs and lift all the way through the body as you extend the arms forward. Reach the arms, lengthen all the way through so you can take the arms above the head. Be in this position. Again, grounding down through the legs, grounding into the feet, but reaching up through the torso. So we have two-way direction. Reaching down with the legs and extending up through the center of the body. Release the arms down. Still keep the length of the body. Soft inhale, soft exhale. Extend the arms forward. We're going again. Extending the arms up. Now this time we're going to bring Uttanasana into the action. If you're not watching the video, just listen to the instructions. Soften the knees and reach back as if you're sitting back onto a chair. Pause and then release and straightening the legs again, releasing the arms down. Back to Tadsasana. To correct the alignment of Tadsasana, see that you soften the knees, lengthen the lower back, and then lift up through the front body as you straighten the legs again. Continue to keep the breadth and broadness in the upper body. Our next pose is Vrksasana. If you struggle with balance, then take your back to the wall and use a belt around the lower leg. Press very strongly into the sole of the foot against the inner thigh. Reach up with the arms. Keep the length through the center of the body. Keep your focus on the standing leg. Ground down through the structure and lift up through the soft tissue fiber. Continue to reach up towards the fingertips. Release the arms down. Stand in Tadsasana. Readjust. Coming for Vrksasana to the left side. Taking the foot. See that the toes are facing in a downward direction and the center of the foot is in the center of the inner thigh. Reach up with the arms. Keep your focus forward. Keep the eyes steady. With any balance, see that there's a quietness that comes. Try to take your attention inwardly. Concentrate on the balance. Concentrate on the standing leg. Ground into that leg and lift up. Releasing completely, stand in Tadsasana. Our next pose is Uttanasana. If you've got tight hamstrings, then take a height for your hands. As you can see here in the video, Leo has a chair and Lynn is placing her hands on a couple of yoga bricks. Work this way to get the right action in the legs. Be sharp in the outer foot bones and lift all four corners of the knees. Keep the legs strong and straight. Extend through the spine, being sure that the tailbone is reaching towards the leg side and the sternum towards the head side. Keep the length throughout the front of the body. Ground into the legs and be sure you're getting the lift through the soft tissue fiber. Take a breath in and come up out of Uttanasana. Stand in Tadsasana. As you can see here in the video, we're coming for a change of direction. Coming for seated positions. If you've got difficult hips or difficult knees, then take the seated option onto the chair. Otherwise, sit on a height with your legs extended straight forward. The height can be a brick or a couple of foam pads. Coming for Bharadvajasana. As you can see in the video, Lynn is taking her legs to the side of the hip. We're turning to the right. Leo will turn on the chair. If you're coming into the classic option, then start to extend from the side waist. Continue to lift up. If you're using the chair, use the chair as the fulcrum. Extend from the outer hip to the armpit. Breathe in the chest cavity and keep the breadth and the broadness within the pose. See that you keep the length to get a little bit more turn. If you find the twist in action quite difficult, then stay working on the extended action throughout the centre of the body. Keep this action for a few moments, becoming aware of your breath as you come out of the pose. Either stretch your legs out in front of you or turn on the chair. Taking the legs this time to the right to turn to the left. Come for the Bharadvajasana action with the feet, lifting up nice and tall, and then turning. So whichever option you're using, either use your hands, your arms, or holding on to the bars of the chair to get that lift and extension. Continue to keep that lift throughout the centre of the body, remembering to breathe. Once you make these shapes, this one particularly, this twist in action, then be sure that you continue to observe the breath within the whole of the body. Soft inhale and soft exhale. Releasing out of the pose and coming back into your seated position. We're changing direction again, coming back to a standing position. Be in the centre of your mat for Tadsasana. Preparing for Trikonasana, taking your hands to your chest, taking a breath in and jumping those legs wide apart. Look down at your feet and be sure that the feet are facing forward. Turning your left foot in, the whole of your right foot and leg out. Keeping that lift through the centre of the body. Hinge over to your left. Take hold of your outer shin. Keep your front leg nice and straight. And continue to ground back into your back leg. Keeping the framework strong and straight. Legs pulling up. Lengthen through the whole of the front of the body. Continue to keep the length, ground into your back leg and come up out of the pose. Turn your feet. Turn your right foot in, the whole of your left foot and leg out. Keep the lift through the centre of the body and hinge over. Go and see that you ground down into that back leg again. Pull up through the front leg, front thigh, and go and see how much you can extend through the centre of the body. Be sure you're keeping that outer left hip in. Breathe smooth and evenly as you come out of the pose. Jump the legs together. Stand for Tadsasana. Recover. Take the weight back into your heels. Keep the lift through the legs. Extend from the base of the body all the way to the chest. We go again. Hands to the chest and jump the legs wider than Trikonasana. We're coming for Parsvakonasana. So keep the lift through the centre of the body as you turn your left foot in, the whole of your right foot and leg out. Keep that lift through the side waist. Soften the knee, make a square with the front leg as you extend over into Trikonasana. Taking your hand either to a brick, as you can see here in the video, or to the floor. If the upper arm is a little bit stiff, then extend it directly up rather than taking it over the ear. Let the breath be smooth and even. Ground down into your back leg strongly to come up out of the pose. Turning the feet and come into the left side. Turn your right foot in, your left foot out. Keep the lift through the centre of the body and make a square with that left leg. Ground down into your back leg and now take in your left hand to the floor or to the brick. Keep the grounded action in your back leg. Keep the back leg strong and straight. See that you get the length all the way from the base of the body towards the chest. Soft inhalation and exhalation. Ground down into your back leg strongly as you come up out of the pose. Turning the feet to face forward and jump the legs together. Stand for Tadsasana. Recover. Scan the body from the base all the way through to the crown of the head. Be sure you're keeping the weight in the back of the heels, pulling up through the soft tissue fibre, and continue to keep the length all the way through to the chest cavity. Keep the chest nice and open as you breathe softly and smoothly. As you can see in the video, we're changing direction. Come on to all fours. We're preparing for Adho Svanasana. Be sure that you take a little while with this preparation. Press down very strongly into the wrists. See that you open the whole of the palm, middle finger facing forward. Lift through the front body. See that the lower abdomen is moving towards your spine. Tuck the toes under. Press into the palms and lift the buttocks up. Come into Adho Svanasana, dog facing down. Revisit the arm work. Press strongly into your wrists and ground down with the palms. Lift from the upper elbow all the way through, along the side waist to the buttocks. Push strongly with the legs. See that the front of the thighs push towards the bones. Open the backs of the knees and reach through the soles of the feet. Soften your knees. Come into Adho Mukha Virasana. As you can see here, Leo is coming into the modified version, placing a foam pad between the buttock and the heel and resting the head onto a foam pad. Use this method if you find it difficult to get the buttocks towards the heels. Prepare for our next pose. Our next pose is Urdhva Hastasana. As you'll be able to see in the video, Leo will come from a kneeling position and Lim from a prone position. Take a look at the video to see which method would be most suitable. If you're coming from the floor, strengthen your arms and push into the wrists. If you're coming from the kneeling position, then it's more of a fluid action. When you're in this position, be sure that you're lengthening your tailbone and you're lifting the front of the thighs to the back of the thighs. Slowly releasing down. You can practice this pose several times. We're going to come again. Tuck the toes under. If you're pushing from the floor, prepare. Lift the lower abdomen. If you're coming into the more fluid action, then extend from a kneeling position. This time we're going to come into Adho Svanasana. So prepare the legs, keep them strong and straight. Push into your wrists and extend the whole of the body up. So if you find this quite challenging, then you can come back to the kneeling position and then come up into dog facing down. Push into the legs very strongly. Ground into the wrists and into the palms. Lift throughout the whole of the center of the body. Soft inhalation and soft exhalation. Coming out of the pose, softening your knees and reaching your buttocks back to your heels. Again, if you need a little bit of support, then take a look at the video and you'll be able to see Leo using a foam pad between the buttock and the heels. Our next pose is going to be Virasana. If you take a look at the video, you can see Lynn and Leo are using a foam pad between the heels. Be sure that you create space behind the back of the knee before kneeling. Sit in Virasana. Press down with the toes, placing your palms on the soles of the feet to help with this action. Keep the lift from the inner groins all the way through to the crown of the head. See that you're connecting with your spine in this pose by elongating the space between the pelvis and the lower ribs. Let the breath be smooth and even. To come out of the pose, take your hands forward, take the legs to the side, and then reach the legs out in front of you. Sit in Dandasana. Dandasana is a pose where the legs are extending forward and you're reaching up through the center of the body. Be sure the legs are working strongly as you bend your left leg for Marichyasana. Lift up with the left arm, extend through the side waist as you bend the arm and take the upper arm in front of the inner thigh. Take your back hand back to either a brick or the floor. Keep the lift throughout the body. If you're working with a brick, you'll find that this will help to give more extension through the center of the body. Keep the breadth and broadness in the collarbones, releasing the pose and coming to the other side. Bend your right leg, hold on to the shin, lift up. Reach up with your right arm and then hook the arm in front of the thigh and turn. As you turn, use the upper arm as a fulcrum to press against the inner thigh and the inner thigh against the arm. Keep this connection as you increase the extension throughout the whole of the front body and turn. Keep the straight leg strong and straight. To come out of the pose, release the legs for Dandasana. Keep extending into the heels and lift up through the center of the body. Our next pose is a supine position. Lie flat on your mat with your arms extending strongly down to the sides. For this pose, you will need to have a belt. Start by bending your right leg. Place the belt around the foot. Extend the foot up to 90 degrees. Reach with the belt, holding onto each belt tail. Extend right up into the belt with the ball of the foot. Keep the leg extending. Become aware of the grounded leg. Extend into the heel. Ground down with the left thigh bone. And continue to reach through both legs. Soft inhalation and soft exhalation. Releasing the leg down, extending both legs. We're coming for the left side, bending your left leg, placing the belt. Just be aware of the 90-degree angle, extending up into the belt. Pull up the kneecap and the thigh strongly. If your hamstrings are tight, then take the leg slightly before the 90-degree angle. Get an idea of what feels straight. Continue to extend through the legs. Become aware of the grounded action in the grounded leg and extend into the heel. Bring the toes towards you. Keep the breath smooth and even. Coming out of the pose, softening the knee and extending the leg. Come back to Supta Tadsasana. Our next pose is coming into another leg lift, but taking the leg to the side. For this, you will need to have a foam pad to rest to the side of the hip. Take your belt again. Place the belt around the right leg. Extend the leg up to 90 degrees. Hold the belt in the right hand as you extend the right leg out to the side. Keep the leg strong and straight. Place your left hand onto your left thigh. Encourage the left thigh to keep grounded. Keep the left hip down. Keep this broadness extending into both legs. Keeping the extension through your left leg as you bring the right leg up and release down. Coming for your left side, taking the belt around your left foot and take the leg to 90 degrees. Keep the leg strong and straight and then transfer the belt into the left hand. Keep the arms straight and strong as you extend the leg over to the side. Keep both legs strong and straight. Extend into your right leg to keep the anchoring and the grounding of the pose. Reach your left leg into the belt. Keep your hand onto your right thigh if it helps to anchor this area down. Releasing out of the pose, bring the leg back and releasing the leg down. Coming back to Supta Tadsasana. This is when we lie in a supine action with the arms extending as if you were in Tadsasana, standing position. Our next pose is going to be Urdhva Hastasana. This is when we take the legs, both legs this time, to 90 degrees. Use your belt. Extend into the balls of the feet. Hold on to the belt. Utilize the traction of the belt to help ground and broaden your lower back. So pull down into the balls of the feet and resist up into the belt with the balls of the feet. So continue with these two actions to create more space. If you feel strong in the pose, then reach the arms above the head. If you're able to keep that extension, be aware of the extension of the lower back and the softening of the abdomen. If you're going for the option of holding onto the belt, still work on keeping the legs straight and the thighs moving away from the abdomen. To come out of the pose, soften your knees and take your feet to the floor. Our next pose is a restorative action using support. We're coming into the Bharadvajasana Twist. As you can see in the video, Leo and Lynn are making preparations for support for the spine. A bolster is good for this pose, but you can also use a couple of blankets, as you can see in the video. Before you come into your Bharadvajasana Twist, be sure that you lift up through the front body and then walk your hands along your support. Start to get the turn in action. If it's quite challenging to turn the head towards the spine side, then keep the head facing towards the knees. In this pose, you have the opportunity to take time. Take time to release all of those paraspinal muscles, release the abdomen, and just surrender towards your support. Become aware of the breath, the inhalation, and the exhalation. When coming into Bharadvajasana Twist, you can take time. You can stay in the pose a little longer if you wish to. We're going to come up and come to the other side, but if you'd like to take a little bit more time, then do so. Coming to the other side, having the left side to the support this time, and continue to just gradually turn and revolve the spine onto the support. Just let the body completely release. And again, if you can turn the head away from the knees, then do so. But if that's too challenging at this moment in time, then do keep the face facing towards the knee side. Let the breath become smooth and even, and weight the spine towards the support. Just give yourself a few moments to let those back muscles completely soften and release. And again, you can Practice your own timings with this pose. You can stay in it for a little bit longer than what we're doing in the video. Our next pose is going to be Supta Konasana. As you can see in the video, you're still going to need your support, but also a head support. Aline has placed a cushion underneath the blankets and Leo has a blanket on top of her bolster. You will need to have also a belt. Just take a look at Leo if you're unsure of the belt, how to place. You take the belt over the head, take it through the inner thighs and to the outer foot bones. Tighten the belt, but be sure that it's not overly tight to restrict the groins. Once you have your belt in place, then you're going to start to go back. Now you can lift your tailbone and extend your tailbone towards your heels if you find there's any compression or restriction in the lower back. And again, this is another pose which is passive. So we can stay in this pose for a little bit longer. Take a little time to make your adjustments and then let the arms rest down beside you. Let the upper arms rest to the floor, turning so that the palms are facing up towards the ceiling. Just let the whole of the facial features completely release and soften. Soften around the temples, soften around the back teeth, soften the throat. Let the shoulders completely weight down towards the floor. Keep the chest open, abdomen soft, and breathe. Become aware of the inhale and the exhale. If you find that the legs are becoming quite heavy, then you can always place a foam pad or two underneath the thighs. Be sure that you're not lying there concerned about the aggravations in the body, whether that's tight groins or difficult thighs, difficult hips. Be sure you have enough support. So you can place a foam pad, brick, rolled blanket underneath the thigh in this position. Be aware of your breath. Soft inhalation and soft exhalation. Let the whole of the spine surrender towards the support. Front spine, back spine, abdomen, all the connective tissue can now completely release. And again, in this pose, as it's a passive action, you can stay in it for a little bit longer if you wish to. We're coming out of the pose now, and we're coming into our next pose. Come into Vrksasana. This is a cross-legged position, either sitting on some support or sitting to the floor. Take a few moments to adjust the spine. Elongate from the base. Keep the breadth and broadness across the collarbones. This is the end of the sequencing. Finish your practice with a couple of deeper, longer inhalations. Namaste.